Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jessica and today we're filming one of my favorite projects, the one that got me started on this whole little YouTube journey, and that is my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. Can't believe we are already in November. October has flown by, but it was a wild ride, a lot of fun, and we have been wearing a lot of eyeshadow. This year has truly flown by, they always do, and I'm excited to look back and reflect on all of the eyeshadow pans that I've been able to hit during this past year with this project. But let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. We still have one more month to go in this project, and who knows, maybe there are more pans in our future before the year's up. I always want to give credit where credit is due. This project was created by a YouTuber named Alexi, who was always linked in my description box. Since then, it has run amok all over YouTube and a ton of people love to do it, and they each do it in kind of their own way. I'm always working on 5 eyeshadow shades at a time, with the ultimate goal being to hit pan. However, if I use them at least 30 times over 3 months of use and I still haven't hit pan, I will roll that eyeshadow out with, still a good amount of use being completed on it. I'm gonna have some fun Halloween looks to share with you at the end of the video, so definitely stay tuned for that. But without further ado, let's get on into this update. Here's my palette that I've been working on over the past month. We'll start with the shade here on the bottom. That is the shade that has been in here the longest, and it is Alloy from the Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. You can see Alloy is a beautiful kind of orangey gold foiled shade. Beautiful on the eye, so easy to wear, and I've really enjoyed working on this, and I've gotten a ton of use on it. So here's what it was looking like when I first rolled it in. Didn't have a lot of use, but I reached into it a couple times. After the first month, I was able to use it 14 times, and it was looking like this. In the second month, I used it an additional 17 times, so a total of 31 uses, surpassing my 30 use goal, but I hadn't hit pan yet. It was looking like this, and I left it in for one more month to reach that 3-month goal, or to hit pan on it, and I'm happy I did. I reached for it 12 additional times during the past month, making for 43 uses total, and here's what it's looking like today. And you can see that I do have a nice size pan on there. Very satisfied with the size of that pan, and not only that, but the depth of that pan. It really did create a big old divot in that shade, and I've used a ton of the product, which makes my palette look a little unbalanced, but I'm really happy that I've gotten good use on it. I have reached into a few of the other shimmers, not the mattes because they're so similar to the ones in my Modern Renaissance that I'm working on, but just loved having this palette out and about. And I really do love this palette. It's one of my favorite in my collection, and it makes me want to buy more Natasha Denona palettes. There's a new one out. I think it's like the My Dream palette, and I'm in love. And I know I don't need it, but I really want it, and I'm probably going to buy it for myself because I just love this formula so much, and I love this format. It's another mini palette like this, and I think that is just the perfect niche with me with Natasha Denona. I think this is a really nice size palette, and I love the quality, and I'm happy to have it around, but I'm also happy to roll it out today. Our next shade is this one right here. That is Crowbar from the Urban Decay Vice 4 palette. This little oldie right here, and this shade has been quite stubborn, but we finally hit our goal on it. It's the 3rd month I've been working on this shade. Here's what it was looking like when I first rolled it in. This shade had not been touched. It's definitely not a shade that I typically reach for. After the 1st month, I had used it 13 times, but you could hardly tell. Here's what it was looking like. I used it an additional 8 times in the 2nd month, making for a total of 21 uses. And again, there's hardly a dent in this shade at all, but I still had 9 more uses on it to reach my 30 use goal, which I did in fact reach over the past month, reach for it exactly 9 times and not another use more because I was over it. And here's what it's looking like today. And you can see it's just starting barely to get a dip in there, but yep, that's what we get for 30 uses. I was able to hit pan on Bone, and this one's Fastball, as well as Harlot, all within 30 uses, like less than 30 uses. But this one, it's just really hard pressed. I used a lot of this shade. I used it all over the lid. Most times I used it to really try and get a good amount of product, but it's just the nature of how it behaves. It's kind of dry. It's probably old, it's probably just not the best anymore because this palette is ancient, but I still like to keep it around. I still have shades in here I like I've said a few times, I love these greens, I love these purples, and I'm just not one to depot. I just don't find it practical for me. I'd rather just keep the whole palette. That's just me. So yes, we're gonna keep this palette around for a little bit longer. We'll see. I might declutter it at the end of the year, just play with it a little bit more and finally part ways, or I might not. I don't know, because it's not taking up that much space in the grand scheme of my life. Although, if I say that 1,000 times, then that stuff's taking up a lot of space. And I'm really working on minimizing my home. I live in a very small space. It's a little overwhelming. There's just nowhere to put anything. So, it's a little tangent I'm going off of. But long story short, I'm not ready to let go of this quite yet. But we are rolling out Crowbar, and I'm very happy about that. I did not want to work on that shade any longer, but I did get some really nice looks out of it and found a very practical way to use it. So that's a success as far as this project goes. And if you feel like encouraging me to declutter that palette in the comments, please, by all means, I do need the support. That's something that I definitely struggle with. So if you want to help me out and you want to give me a little bit of encouragement, then please. Thank you. Next, we have this shade right here. This is Beam from the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, this big old stinking thing. And I just rolled this shade in last month. I reached for this shade basically every day that I did my makeup, which is most days of the month, as an inner corner highlight, as well as a brow bone highlight. I, of course, have it on my look today, mixed in with some other shades. And, you know, just obviously a very, very easy shade to reach for. Here's what it was looking like when I rolled it in. The past month, I used it a whopping 25 times, and I am using a smaller detail brush to reach for it because of where it is being applied to my inner corner and my brow bone. And here's what it's looking like today. You can see we've got a good little size dip in there. I was hoping to reach pan on this soon. I feel like pan is just around the corner, maybe like 5 more uses or possibly less. But if I know this palette, I think it's getting very, very, very close. And I almost want to roll it out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it in. If I hit pan on it soon, then that'll just give me a good excuse to reach for other highlights in the other palettes that are in my project at the moment. But yeah, we'll definitely have pan on this next month, and that'll be great for our finale. I know we have one pan at least guaranteed for our finale, so look forward to that. So this big lady is going to stay in for another month, and I'm excited to play with it more. The next shade is Cosmic, this beautiful shimmering baby bubblegum pink right here. And that's from the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. And I love this palette so much. I'm so happy that I've had the chance to work on it during the past couple months. There are 2 shades in here that I'm working on from 2 different projects, and it's been relatively new in my collection, but very neglected since it's been so new that I don't want to use it, and I've been focused on my project pans. Here's what Cosmic was looking like when I first rolled it in. I'd used it a couple times, but of course, it was very new like the rest of this palette. I reached for this shade 10 times during the past month, which is great in my opinion. That's kind of like my goal for each month. If I can get at least 10 uses, then I feel really good about that. And here's what it's looking like today. And you can see we do have a little small dip starting to go in there. These shades really apply best with the finger. So this pan might be a little bit harder to hit, but we shall see. I don't have any experience on Huda Beauty palettes and haven't watched a lot of panning content with this palette, so if you have experience with that, let me know in the comments how deep these pans are, how many uses I can expect. I know that's kind of different for everyone, but I'm just kind of interested to know what your experience might be with some of these shades. So that one is going to stay in, and we are just happy to have her around. She's a pleasure. Oh, and I realize I still have this thing on here, so hey, I've been saving this for you. So fresh. I should have used this shade on my eye look today. I didn't really think of it. I was looking for like warmer shades, but it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. Not really loving my look. Sometimes that just happens, you know, but it washes off. It's makeup, right? And that brings us to our last shade, this shade here. This shade does not have a true name, but it is from the L'Oreal Avant-Garde Azure palette, and it is shade number 3, so the 3rd shade in this palette. And it's a really beautiful teal, very bright. I do, of course, have this in my look today. I definitely wanted to reach for this shade for my look today because it has been quite neglected in this past month. It's just kind of hard to wear a bright teal blue in the middle of fall. At least it has been for me. And It doesn't quite vibe very well with the rest of my shades. I don't know. It just wasn't inspiring me very much. I've also just been a little bit burnt out on blues. If you've watched my channel, then you know that it just rolled out of blue the same day that I rolled this in. So we are on a blue streak. It's been blue, blue, blue. I had a blue fall. Anyways, here's what this shade was looking like when I rolled it in. I had quite a bit of use on this palette before rolling it in. I reached for this 5 times during the past month, with today being my 5th use, and this might be the surprise of the year for me because today on the 5th use, I did hit pan. So here's what that pan is looking like today. We hit that pan, which in this case is just the bottom of the plastic component, but there it is, the bottom of the product, and it is quite shallow, I believe. Yes, and quite powdery. And when I did create looks with this blue, I really let the blue dominate the look and used a ton of the product. So I'm so shocked and pleasantly surprised to have a pan on this shade. Was not expecting it at all, and it's the little surprise bonus pan to share with you. A very little happy moment. So I'm very happy to be rolling that one out. I'm really hoping we don't roll in another blue today. We shall see. That one gets to roll out, and even though it created this look that I'm just not crazy about, I don't know, there's just something about the blue with the gold, and I was trying to get like an orange under eye that just was not hitting. So, you know, hey, even though it was a fail as far as the look came out, it's been a big success, and hey, it was meant to be. So yay! I'm still gonna keep this little palette around. It's just a great little blue go-to for me. And every time I need a blue, this one seems to have what I need. And you know, they still sell these at the store. So if you don't invest in like an entirely blue palette or like a big colorful palette and you just want like a couple of shades of blue, this one's quite good for a good price. It's only $10, so I would recommend it. And I know there's other great quads that come in the same line, so check it out if you're looking for some drugstore eyeshadow. I do have one more pan to share with you, a bonus pan, and that is again from that same palette from last bonus pan, the Lorac Makeup Pro 2 palette. And this has just kind of been like my unofficial pan that palette. I've just had it out and kind of been focusing on one shade at a time and just making an effort to reach for it here and there. Not like really focusing on it, but it's just trying to get more use on it. So my bonus pan in this palette is this gold shade here, Gold Leaf. And this one was already so close to pan. It had such a divot in it for such a long time. And I went in there after I had finally hit pan on Alloy because I wanted to do the same gold look over Crowbar that I had been doing for so often. And I reached for Gold Leaf to do that job, and there that pan was revealed. And it's a nice big flat pan, not the shimmeriest gold shade you've ever seen, but none of these shimmers are really like that very foiled, impactful shimmer formula that we see with Natasha Denona. They're more of like a satin, you know, understated shimmer, which has its place. And I really do love this palette. It has such a great mixture of mattes and shimmers, and I like having it around, and I like having a lot of pans in it. So we'll continue to just kind of play with that one over the next year, and I will always update you when I have a little bonus pan to share on it. So that brings us to our pan percentage. I have 3 additional pans to add to it this month in Alloy, the Avant-Garde Azure palette in shade number 3, and that bonus shade Gold Leaf from the Lorac Makeup Pro 2 palette. I have 438 total shades of eyeshadow pans in my official project pan inventory at this moment. That number will change in the new year, but we're just staying with this number for now until we can do like a complete inventory refresh in January. My pan percentage last month was 14.8%, and I was so close to my 15% overall goal. With those 3 additional pans, I now have 68 pans total out of those 438 shades, so my new pan percentage is 15.5%. We have hit that 15% goal, which feels great. I'm not sure what my real pan percentage is. Just from what I've decluttered and what I've acquired over the past year, it hasn't been that much, but we shall see in January what the new number is, where we're starting at our new baseline, and we'll have a new goal for the new year, of course. But I'm just happy that with the eyeshadows we started this year with, we were able to make a pretty good jump. So we went from 9.73 in January all the way up to 15.5. So that's a 5% increase, which I think is not too shabby. And we still have another month to go. So who knows where we're gonna get. So we're rolling out Alloy, Crowbar, and that blue shade. And Beam and Cosmic are both staying in, so I have those swatched here for you. Let's go ahead and roll in some new shades. Can't wait to play with some new palettes, hopefully. I have my Tiny Decisions app here. I have all of my eyeshadow palettes that are in this project in this wheel right here, and let's roll for that first palette and then we'll go with shades from there. So let's see what we get. Ooh, fun, the e.l.f. Jalapeno palette. I've been hoping to get some use on that. I haven't touched it at all. Let's go grab it right now. So here is the e.l.f. Jalapeno palette. Such a cute little baby. And I'm really happy to see some greens come in and this gold even, because I don't have any of these shades anywhere near similar to this in my Pan That palette. That is one of my little guidelines, is that if I roll in a shade that's too similar to another shade I'm working on or one in my Pan That palette, then I will re-roll for a different shade. So here is that palette. I'm sure you've seen it before. And I'm excited. I'd be fine with working on any of these shades. It'd be fun to work on a green during this next autumn month. So let's go ahead and put in numbers 1 through 4 and see what shades coming in. I think I've used that palette maybe one time, which is just pathetic. Let's pull in a number. There we go. Number 3, okay, that's a good one. That's a very good green, I believe. Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3. That's a good one. That's kind of a nice matte green. I think that'll be really fun to incorporate in a lot of different looks. I haven't had a green in this project in a long time, so that is exciting. This isn't swatching the best. These palettes were just so popular when they came out. They, you know, selling out. You couldn't even keep them in stock, but the buzz has kind of died down around them. So there it is. There's that green. It's not like, it's just kind of a very, I don't know, standard color green, like grassy green color. Not too deep, not too yellow, not too blue. It's just kind of your standard green. And I have green eyes, so that should be fun to play with. And I'll probably reach into the other shades in this palette too. And we'll try and hit pan on it. I don't know if that's gonna happen in a month, but we'll see what we can do on it, what kind of damage we can make. It is a darker shade, so chances of me reaching for a finer, more detailed brush are good, and who knows what will come. I mean, this is an e.l.f. palette. I doubt this pan is as thick as some more high-end shades. Just from what I can see in the plastic packaging, I doubt it's very deep in there. So who knows what will happen? Maybe we'll have a pan to share, maybe not, but we will enjoy working on this for November. Okay, on to the next. Oh goodness, the She's a Rainbow palette. It's a rainbow palette, as the name implies, and I've worked on 2 of these shades during the past year, so hey, what's another one? Let's grab her. Let's see what we get. At least I know I'm getting a pop of color in my palette. I mean, if the green wasn't enough. So here is that palette for you. There's some pressed glitters in here, so that would kind of be a bummer to get. I don't know if I'll even allow myself to roll in a pressed glitter. I'll probably re-roll if I get a pressed glitter, because no. We have 2 shades in here that I've already worked on. This one here, what was it called? It had a really funny name. It's called Kitten Fish. And this yellow I'd worked on, Sweet Spot, which I got quite a good little dent in there, but it's still eligible to be rolled in because it doesn't have a pan on it. But I'm going to skip the 3 glitters in here, the green, the orange, and the yellow. So instead of putting 1 through 24, I will put the numbers 1 through 21. This could get interesting. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I have 1 through 21 right there. Let's see what we get. $11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Skipping 10, 11. Girl. A shimmery purple. Shocking. I do have another shimmery purple I'm working on, but this is a very different shimmery purple. And you know what? I'm actually very excited about this because everyone knows I love purple. I was swatching this. It kind of looks more like a magenta. It's got like kind of a pinky purple vibe. Again, not the best for, we can make this work for fall, actually. I shouldn't speak too soon. There she is. That's pretty. That's a pretty purple. I really do enjoy wearing shades like this. And it'll pair very nicely with Cosmic from the Mercury Retrograde palette. And I'm happy to work on a shimmer and not a matte from this palette because as we've seen, the mattes are very, very difficult to hit pan on. And I don't think the shimmer will be easy, but it'll just be a different experience. So I'm very excited about that one too. This has been a little fun session so far. And we still have one more to go. Let's see what it could be. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, yay. The ABH Sultry palette, a palette that I love and I have not reached for, and it's probably been almost a year. So that's exciting. And I hope I get a shimmer from there as well, but we'll see what mattes I get because their mattes are very different from the mattes I'm currently working on in the Modern Renaissance palette. So let me grab that palette. There she is, this very glittery, beautiful thing. And I'm excited to have this out in these colder months. I already have 2 pans in this palette, one on Tempera and one on Birch. That was like one of my first pans from my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. So that means we have 12 eligible shades in here. Although we do have the black, like I'm not really trying to pan a black, you know, and Dystopian is another one that I wouldn't bring in. Oh, I don't know. I guess we'll just see what happens, right? Let's put in the numbers 1 through 12 and see what the panning gods deliver. And let's generate a number. Gosh, it's so glary. I'm sorry. Number 8, which is one of my favorite numbers. So hopefully that bodes well. I don't know. Okay, we have, oh gosh, there goes the brush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, thank you, Lord. It's Teak. What a beautiful shimmery brown. I'm gonna love wearing this shade. And I think it's gonna pair really well with the shades in the Modern Renaissance palettes. Let me swatch that beauty for you. Oh, I'm just so happy. I couldn't have wished for better. So there is Teak swatched, and it is just a gorgeous shimmery brown. So reflective, and it'll be such an easy like one shadow look, even though like how often am I doing those? But there might be a morning where I just need to slap Teak on my eyelids and I'll be looking fabulous all day, I'm sure. Wow, what a fun palette. I'm so excited to play with these. I think that this project is really going out with a bang this year. We have our finale next month, although now that I'm like digging these shades so much, I might continue and just roll over into January with the same shades instead of doing a complete refresh. Please let me know what your opinions would be on that. If that would like completely bother you, I don't want to do it. You know, I don't want to upset anyone, but at the same time, like I didn't really find doing the refresh last year to be that refreshing. I just kind of felt a little frustrated that I wasn't able to meet my goal on shades that were ended abruptly before they had the 30 uses or 3-month that I normally try and hit. So let me know what you think. If you don't care, then that might be what I do. I don't know. We're going to think about it a little bit more. I only have a couple looks to share with you from the past month. It just flew by and I don't know what I was doing. I wasn't taking pictures of my makeup, but I did manage to capture a few. So here's one of my favorite looks that I did. And you know, now that I'm looking at it, I don't even think I have much of my Pan Those Eyeshadows in this look. I definitely have Cosmic in my inner corner in that look, but the rest of the shades are from my Pan That palette and also the ultraviolet shade from the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde that I'm working on for my deck of panning. That being said, this second look is the same story. I have a lot of shades from the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette again, but Cosmic is one of them, and it is on the inner corner, probably the lower part of the lash line as well. So there you have that. And of course, this was the month of Halloween, and I was the White Rabbit this year, and I did a few different makeup looks with that Halloween costume. I did it once as a practice. So here you can see my first run at my White Rabbit makeup look. And I used that teal blue shade from the Avant-Garde Azure palette as a contour. And I kind of liked how the blue matched with the blue of my collar. And here's a picture of me on my final day with the ultimate makeup, the second run. And I actually went in even heavier with the blue as a contour because I liked it so much. Thank you to my friend Emma for the inspiration. And I also used the blue in my eyebrows. And I do have one final look, but actually now that I'm looking at it, oh yes, I have Beam on in this look. Beam was part of my look basically every time I did my eye makeup. And here you can see it on my inner corner, as well as a brow bone highlight, you know, really exciting stuff. But those are all the looks I have to share with you today. Sorry there weren't any more, but I'll definitely try and do better next month, and just remember to take more pictures. With that, I'm going to end this video here. It's been kind of a struggle filming today. My phone is almost out of memory and I just kept getting cut off in my filming. So I'm just gonna end it here before any other snafus happen. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me out so much. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and following me along for more of my project pan journeys. I hope you're doing really well, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!